Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this week's midweek masterpiece. I just want to show you different ways to make fog. And I did some hills in the background, some fog coming through the trees. And this should be relatively quick, and I'll show you a couple of different ways that I do fog, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm starting with a gray canvas, but you can start with any color you'd like. So I'm just doing a little bit of gray, and you can start with any color. It just doesn't really matter. We're just gonna do the background in gray, put in some hills and trees, and be on our way. Hold on just one second, and we're gonna start. So for tonight, we're going to use some Master Touch. This is grass green, which is a medium green. We're going to use Master's Touch black. We're going to use some of the white, and which anybody's white. And then I've also got this pretty full cart fresh cut grass, which is cute. It's a kind of a light medium color. And then the hunter green from Crafter's Choice, or just Crafter's Collection, sorry, from Hobby Lobby. So I've got a mixture of paints here. We're going to give it a shot. The white is obviously craft paint. You can see it sliding around on my plate, but that's okay too. So let's start with what I did on the other one is I put a hill way out in the background. So let me get my paper towels and water handy. We're going to make 3 colors of gray. So the further away it is, the lighter it is. I'm getting my brush just a little damp. So let's do a little white and just a touch of black and a lot of white. We're going to make a really light gray. Okay. Then I'm going to make a kind of a medium gray here. So I'll have a little more black. Just slightly darker than the other. And then we're going to have a dark gray over here. And just with a lot more black in that. So I'm just making 3 different colors of gray. That's dark, this will be medium, and that's light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the background gray. And we're going to take the lightest gray there is. And I'm just going to put him kind of in the middle here. So kind of a hill, not flat, not straight. Okay, so you can kind of see that with the background. And as it dries, it will dry a little darker. So we're just going to leave that like that. We'll cover most of that. Then we're going to take the medium brown and let's put one over here. And we'll bring it in from the side. Do a nice little medium gray hill. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to cover it. There's going to be trees and fog. So that's medium. And then we're going to take the darkest for the closest hill. And let's put him like, I don't know, right here. Just kind of 3 hills to give it just a little bit of a background. This is really more for trees and fogs. And kind of get our feet wet with it and see how it goes. Fog is, you can use a mop brush or any kind of brush you'd like, and I'll show you how that works. And each one is different and will give you a different look. So I'm just trying to get this. I didn't make much of the dark gray, so I'm trying to get this to spread just a little further. So we'll just bring the trees up further up this way. And we'll cross over there. How's that? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is let's put in some faraway trees. So I'm just going to take a little bit of black and let's use a different brush. I'm going to use this brush. This is a 1/4 inch flat. We're going to just make that straight edge that I do on the end of it. Put each side in the black and flatten it out just a little bit. See how flat? I'm not sure if you can see that. And what we're going to do is just kind of start putting in trees. So I'm going to have the trees go all the way up here. And that's just put in a line, and then I'm going to go like a zigzag. I'm just barely touching the canvas with my flat end, and we're just going to make kind of a zigzag with the black paint. And the further you go down, the more it goes out, gets larger as you get towards the bottom. Sorry, just trying to paint and talk at the same time here. And we'll just kind of make it thicker in the middle. We'll just kind of make it look like a little tree. This will also be covered quite a bit. And you can see the gray through it, which is fine. I think we'll put some fog over this one. And let's put in some more trees. We're going to kind of go, let's go back in here a little bit more. And put in some trees back here. I'm just doing the zigzag. That's all I'm doing. And we'll put in a tree here. And just the zigzag is all it is. Doing trees is pretty easy. I do kind of want the middle filled a little bit so it looks like it's actually got some body to it. And as you go down, it gets a little bigger. Oops, that was a little too much paint, and that's okay. Maybe we'll cover that with fog too. And I just want it fat towards the bottom. Let's get the, kind of blend that in the middle, kind of hide that trunk a little bit. And then we'll do, I'm trying to remember by looking at my picture. Let's do one here. I kind of want it to look the same or similar because I did kind of like how that other one turned out. And we'll go short up top, making it longer. And of course, it's not exactly the same on any level because they are trees and they grow at different pace. Let's see, one more here. And this way. So you will kind of see that really light gray hill in the background there. I think we'll bring the fog through here. I think it'd be kind of pretty. Give it a little point. And then let's do some over here. We'll make these kind of farther away. These little trees out this way. And maybe some more little trees that'd be a little further away. Bring the fog out between them. And I'm just barely touching the canvas. And I'm just going back and forth with my brush. Little zigzag, back and forth. And let's see. Another one here. Oops, I just touched that by accident, so we're just going to put that tree right there. Happy little accidents. That's what Bob Ross used to call them. He was, gosh, what an artist. Okay, I'm just going back and forth with my brush just to kind of put some little trees back in here. And let's see. And maybe one more right here, just to kind of make it look a little different. Now you can pitch trees anywhere you want to, big or small, however you want to. The darker ones are back in the, more in the background, and so they will be darker like shadows. So now we need to wait for this to completely dry. It's got to be completely dry before we do the fog, or it will just make everything gray. And we don't want that. So let's wait just a few minutes. We'll get it to dry and start again on the fog. Okay, so now that that's dry, what we're going to do is, I have 3 different brushes here I can show you. This is the Filbert. This is my little, what's it called? It's the fluffy brush. And now I can't remember the name of it. Oh my gosh, I got it back to you. And then a little round brush. Okay, this is a mop brush. I'm sorry, it's a mop brush. My brain isn't working. And this is a small round brush. And so we're going to give them all a shot and see what they do. So first, I am going to get my Filbert damp. I'm going to dry it off most of the way, so it's just a little damp. Then I'm going to barely touch into the white, okay? And I'm going to knock most of that off because I just want a little bit of paint, okay? And let's say we're gonna bring it down here. So we're just gonna start, and I'm gonna do it in little swirlies. And as I do it, I'm just gonna spread it, make it thinner. And I'll put it over these trees here. Now this, I'm gonna dip it back in the white, get most of it off. It does take a little time. And some of it will be brighter because fog, of course, is bright in spots, dark in spots, depending on your light source. So what I'll do is probably, oops, that's way too much white, but that's okay. We're just gonna rub it all in and bring it down through here and then up in here into these guys, just so they're a little bit in the fog. And I am just barely touching the canvas and rubbing it. As you can see, it's not really staying. And because I've rubbed it off, which is fine, I'll just put a little bit more in here. And maybe a little up in here. Okay. Now we're gonna have trees in front of them. That will cover a lot of this fog as well. So it's all done in layers. And I'm just kind of putting the fog where I think it would come through into the trees. Put it up in here. And I'm just rubbing my brush in a circle. Let's add a little more over here maybe. And we'll put trees in front of that. And we will leave that, I think, for now. Maybe a little more right here. I don't want it to be totally gray. I'm just rubbing the brush over little circles, and it's very dry. It is not totally dry, and I know a lot of people use a dry brush, dry brush, but unfortunately when I do, I think it takes off a lot of my paint. Maybe I rub too hard. You might find that. You also might find that a dry brush works great for you. So you can try dry brush. Mine is a little damp to start. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'll cover this with green or with trees. So we're going to put some more trees in the front of this. And it's okay if it's a little damp. So I'm going to take my 1/4-inch brush here. Actually, I think it's a 1/2 inch. I'm sorry. It's a 1/2 inch brush. And we're going to, instead of using black, we're going to use a little black and dark green. And we're going to make this a very dark green. See how that dark that is? It's not quite black. It's got a little green in there. So next, we're going to put our next row of trees. So let's just put them in here, like so. Oops, doesn't have to be straight. And maybe one over here. Maybe a little taller. And we're going to do the same zigzag that we did with the black. Up and over, bigger as you get to the bottom. Kind of fill up the middle a little bit. And it does not have to be perfect by any means. You can also use a filbert. You can use any brush you want on this. I just need to make a little bit more of my dark green here. And it's just black and dark green. It's almost black, but in front of the black you can tell that it is a darker green. And I want to use quite a bit of paint here. Fill in this layer. And it does take a little bit of time, so you do need to just sit back, enjoy the process, have fun with making your trees wherever you want them, however you want them to look. And put a little point up there. And again, a little bit smaller on top, fuller and thicker and whiter on the bottom. Kind of like that. And then again, this does not have to be perfect because we are doing many layers. Let's see, let's put one like right here. And bring it down a little wider. And they can be full, they can be zigzagged. Again, the trees are not perfect by any means. Oh, sorry, you're gonna hear my dogs bark. They're out back. They're having fun tonight. Let's see. Put a little point up there and see, you should be able to see that there is a little bit of a difference there. And we're gonna put some here. And we're just gonna keep going across and kind of put them wherever the heck we wanna put them. So this is the next layer, and we will put fog into these as well. Okay, maybe one right here. He's kind of too full, but it's okay. We'll hide him with another tree or some fog. It's a little dark. I need a little more green in that one. He kind of turned out a little dark, and that's okay. We will get him fixed up, okay? And then we're just going to keep going across with these little darker trees. And fill those in. I want to stick it out a little more, not make it so uniform here. Oh, I got a little white in there. Let's see. Make it a little more green. Sometimes it will get a little dark on me. And I just give it a point, and then I just go back and forth, touching it flat on the canvas. Put some here. It's a darker tree. And of course we will have another layer, so we will have more trees in the front. Sorry, they're just having a ball. They're really, our dogs are, they're all rescue. We have a bunch, and keeping them all quiet is kind of impossible, I've learned. So unfortunately, sometimes they get a little excited and everybody hears them. But sometimes they bark like crazy. I'm just straight on, just barely touching the canvas, going back and forth with this. Let's fill this in a little. I don't want it to look like it's bald or doesn't have a trunk there. Okay. I think that's good for now. Let's see, touch up the little ones. I think needs to be, that kind of looks like there's another one behind there. That's good. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, see the fog behind it coming through? So now we're gonna go ahead and let this dry. If you want to, you can use a hair dryer. I do use a hair dryer, and you put it on low. If you have a cold button, that's even better. And you hold it far away and you keep it moving. You don't want to heat up the canvas. You just want to get this to dry a little quicker. And I'm going to pause this while I do it, or it's a little too loud. I'll be right back. Now that's dry. I want to try this little round brush, and we're going to try doing fog with this one. Again, I'm going to get it a little damp and get the most of the water off my brush. Barely dipping it in the white. Get the white off of the brush because I don't want it to be real dark. And let's bring it maybe through here. And I'm just making it in little circles and kind of making that white kind of disappear, and you can see it over the trees, which is kind of cool. And again, just a little bit of white, and I'm just going in little circles. And I'm going to put it wherever I want the fog to be. And do it out here a little bit, like it's coming off the bottom of the trees here. And it came out of here, so I kind of want that bright in there. And I'm just making circles with, and a little bitty, tiny itty bit of paint on the brush, and just put it down and kind of scrub it in there. And let's see, let's move it a little over here. Let's make some come out through here, maybe. I kind of think that looks cool. So pretty much wherever you want the fog. And you can, it goes over the trees. And the fog kind of filters through everything and comes down. Yeah, okay. So now my paint is all running together. So let me clean my palette and let this dry completely, and we'll go ahead and put in the last layer. Okay, so now we're just going to use my little 1/2 inch flat. We're going to make it flat. We're just going to go into the dark green only. And let's go ahead and put some trees in here. They're going to be bigger and thicker because they're up front. And let's see, let's go start these guys. We're going to do it the same way, the little zigzag back and forth. And I just cover up that the middle part that it grows from. And I'm going to go ahead and put some green down below. We will kind of blend all that into the fog and give it some stumps, or finish the tree out down here. Just fill that in a little bit with green. And go back up here. We're going to do these guys. And I'm just barely tapping the canvas, and just no rhyme or reason, just tapping it down. I just want the bottom to be fuller than the top. And back and forth. And your trees are going to look totally different, and they might be perfect, they might be done with different strokes, however you'd like to do it. Whatever you like your trees to look like, that is fantastic. Whatever colors you want to use is great too. This would be really cool, I think, using some really bright colors and really bring the fog out more, rather than just greens and grays. But this is easy to do. Okay, and we'll just keep doing the green going down, barely touching it with the flat brush. Making sure the bottom of the tree is wider than the top. Let's put one in here. We'll put a big one in here. And again, I'm just using the darker green color, going back and forth with the zigzag. And blending in the middle as I go. And this can go up front of this one, because he is a lot bigger tree. And they're kind of running together, which is fine because we are going to put fog through these guys as well. I just want the closer ones to be a brighter green color. And you can do a pathway, you can add water. Do anything, add snow if you'd like, which would be really pretty as well. Let's go up the middle, kind of fill that in. Make this guy bigger in the bottom. Fill him out quite a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in some of this with green. I need more green. And then I'm just using this dark green. And it is, again, it's the hunter green. I'm going to fill it in down here just a little. I'm just doing this messy. because when the fog goes over it, it's gonna barely stick out. Okay, we'll go up like this. We'll put another one here. We'll have quite a few trees in the front, the bigger trees that are closer to us. And then we will highlight them to make them really stand out. So devil's in the details, right? So it's all about the details. So as you can see, this is just, I'm just barely touching the canvas, and I'm just kind of sticking those limbs down there wherever they want to go. And let's put in maybe one more here, and let's do another big one here. Like he's really close. Okay. And really, this is just really about trying to get the fog in. I really want it to be really foggy and barely see the trees, especially in the background. And I think it'd be kind of neat. I think we'll add more trees up here as well. So we do the bottom bigger, and then the last tree, we're gonna make him pretty big. He is really close to me. Sorry, you hear my dogs bark. Okay, we'll just go back and forth like we did. Keep it going. We'll go down the middle and kind of fill that in. And again, you use the tip of your brush flat, barely touching the canvas. And of course, trees are not perfect and they grow at different lengths, but normally they're wider and thicker as you get towards the bottom. Okay, so now we've got those trees in up close, and I am going to go ahead and we're going to add some highlights. So we're going to use that light green we had, the really light green, again with the flat brush. And let's just go ahead and add some highlights into the ones up front so we can see them better. I'm just randomly touching the dark green limbs here. And go up the front. Kind of go back and forth. Just highlighting them a little so they stand out. They're a little brighter in the front. So touch the tops are going to be brighter. They can actually get away from the fog. Okay, there's your little highlights. As you go down, you don't want to touch every branch. You don't want to cover the dark green. You just kind of want to bring it out a little bit. So I'm just kind of randomly touching the brush with the bright green, as you can see. You can put it up in the middle too if you need to cover up any of those spots that are kind of bare. Okay. And I'm just going to keep this big tree up here, make him nice and bright at the top. Do a little zigzag down like we did with the limbs. And see, now they're really starting to pop in the front. My green had a little white in it, and that actually looks pretty good too. You can add a little white or a little yellow to give it a different color, and it will also make it brighter. Okay, and then go across. I want to make sure and hit all these trees up front because I want them to really stand out, especially when we put in the last fog bank. We want to know that these trees are up close and that we're standing in the fog looking at them. Excuse me. Okay. A little zigzag here. And again, if you don't like your trees, you can always cover them with a little fog. Add a little more green. Different color, however you'd like to do it. And I'm barely touching the top, and then I go into that zigzag with it just flat down like that. I'm going to put on that dark green. And there is black behind it, those darker trees. And I'm just trying to really kind of highlight the front trees. But sometimes you'll get those back trees by mistake, and that's fine too. Because the sun can touch those guys as well. Okay. And then let's see, two more. We go here. Let's get the zigzag in. And of course, again, these are not perfect. They're just in place so it tells your brain there's trees here. A little dark there. We're going to brighten that up and bring that across here. Since it's up front, we'll really make it stand out. And then the last one was the big one. And he is going to be out front and brighter. So we're right there with it. And you can kind of see how it's all kind of coming together here. Do some thick ones on the bottom. Okay. Now, what I want to do is, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of the black, and I'm going to put some little trees in up here. These are just lines. Just some lines up here to show trees way up in the background. See that? And those go up the hill. And just little lines. And I'll bring some fog done to those as well. And to show how far back they are, you can still see the hill here. Now what we have to do is let it completely dry. Again, I'll hit it with the blow dryer. And then we will finish with the last round of fog. And it'll be done. So let's get it dried. So now I've made a couple of decisions while I was drying this. I think it moved a little bit. Okay. I don't like this area, so I want to cover this a little bit more. And I do want to cover these guys with fog just to kind of make them look really far away. So I'm going to use my, I told you I would use a mop brush. I'm not a fan, but we're going to give it a shot. So I'm just going to barely touch it into the paint, get it off. And let's start over here and let's incorporate this guy right here. And just kind of cover him a little bit with the fog. And cover these, just kind of random, so it's just a little foggy up in there. And I'm barely touching it again. I'm getting a lot of it off. And let's go ahead and cover these guys. Well, I kind of like that. Make it bright up in here again, and then maybe down in here. And now we can start incorporating all of it into this part. So keep the white going here, and let's bring it down through here. And I am just doing this in little circles. Using very little bit of paint. Make it disappear in here. Make it go up in here. Down in here. And I'm just making circles. Get that paint to go a little lighter. And more. That was pretty heavy on my brush there, but that's right. We'll just kind of blend it all in here. Bring it down through here. Kind of like that bright area. Bring it up in there. And like I said, I'm just using this little mop brush and just going in little circles. Make it all foggy through here. And now you can play with it forever and put the fog wherever you want it to come down through. Like, let's bring it down through here too. All right. Kind of coming down through all those guys. We'll get these guys up in a little bit of fog up here, just to kind soften them up a little bit, and maybe even through here. I just kind of want to soften them, make it really look foggy. And that's just your own personal choice. You can go up over the hills or not, however you'd like to do the fog. And that's about it. So now you've seen the round brush and the mop brush and my filbert, which is in the water. Let me get it out. And a filbert. So those are 3 type of different brushes we used for the fog. And the mop brush did okay, better than I usually do with it. I usually kind of like the round brush, I think, the best. And I see one more spot, so you can touch it up forever. I just kind of want those a little brighter. Okay, so that's about it. And there's your fog in your hills and your trees. And I do hope you paint this, because I'm very excited to see everybody's designs. And this is your final painting. And you should have the hills in the background, trees way back there, some other trees, all the fog coming in. And I hope you love your painting. If you do paint it, please post it. I love to see everybody's work and everybody's different colors they use and how they make it look. And thank you for joining me. And I do hope to see you again on Midweek Masterpiece. Thank you. Bye-bye.